Davis. We are back again, 2015, continuing moments in Black history.
LaShun, I appreciate this moment. You and I always have communicated on history. Now we're putting it all together again.
Oh, I'm so excited because our guest today, we have with us Miss Sarah Kemp Whitaker, and I have to say, my mother.
Welcome.
And we also have Miss Faye Dobbs with us today, and they both are originals. Are you ladies both originals?
Originals.
Original Douglasvillians and
yes.
Georgia Peaches.
Georgia
Oh,
Peach.
yeah. Georgia Peach.
I use that all the time.
Well, I tell you, today we're going to be discussing, what subject? What are we talking about?
Well, you know, we got so many subjects that since Miss Dobbs grew up here and Miss Sarah, she grew up here and played in her backyard. So, and also Miss Dobbs. Backyard.
That was before my time. I wasn't born. I wasn't born when you played in the backyard.
But we're going to talk about the park today.
Okay, well, the park. Let's see. Are we speaking of Jesse Davis Park? Or?
No, I'll let Mr. Dobbs talk a little bit about Jesse Davis.
Okay, we're going to bring Mr. Dobbs on later.
Yeah,
well, ladies, this is a very special moment because we're talking about Keith Park. However, before Keith Park, the willing working women. Let's start with Miss Whitaker. Miss Whitaker, Mom. I'm allowed to say that on this. Yes. Can you just tell us a little bit about the history and how the willing working women began?
Okay, back in the 50s, Miss Jeannie Walker, she was a Polk Walker. She saw a vision. She had a vision for something for the women to do. So she was the opening person of the Willing Workers Club. The women met, and we decided on the name for the park. And what we were doing, we were working for people that less fortunate than we were. Because back in the day, people helped each other, you know. We would go to the houses and clean. Whatever they needed done, we did that. And it was free. You know, we were just willing to go out and work for free. And that's what we did. That's how it got started with Miss Aquila, Jeannie Polk. That's what they call her, Jeannie Polk. And it was a good thing because all the ladies back then, they were so willing to go out and work. And we would have our meetings once a month. And in that meeting, we would cook. We would cook soul food, you know. I mean, just have a feast for all of us. And we would have a good time, and we would have a good time just going out working.
So am I hearing you say, I hear you say two things. One is Aquila Polk
Walker,
better known as Miss Jeannie Walker,
right,
was the founder
right,
of the Willing Workers
right.
Women. And let's see if we can name some other women. And Faye is a descendant of one of the original members, and that is your mother. Her name is?
Inell Dobbs.
Inell Dobbs. So she was an original member.
She was an original and dedicated so to this. I can recall her talking about it and the meetings, going to the meetings. Miss Sarah was correct. That was my thing. Once a month, I knew she was going to the meetings to bring me something back sweet.
So where were you during this time? Your mother was going to the meetings.
Right.
And what were you doing? Were you a teenager? Were
no,
you a toddler?
No, I was
were
like probably
preschool?
5.
Wow.
5, 6 years old
But you
at
can
that
remember
time.
that.
Oh yeah, because she never stopped talking about it. She's deceased now, but I remember her saying how they worked so hard for this dream, and it was for the children of that community at that time, and we didn't have a park. And they saw that, and they wanted that. They worked hard doing dinners and selling and paying their dues just to get this. So I was home one day, a couple of months back, maybe 3, and the thought just entered my mind again that I need to make a call about it. My first impression was, I don't want to do that. I'm busy. But it stayed with me. And I made one phone call to Councilman Davis. He was so excited to hear from me how long they had been waiting for somebody to step up to the plate. And I was like, okay, this is good. and you made it happen. We started from that point and never stopped until we got the dedication done. That I'm so proud of. So proud of.
So Faye has just talked about, she took us from the original all the way up to November 2015 in regards to the park. Now, when we say park, was this the park that the Willing Working Women put money together from the dues? They purchased the property, and then what happened?
Well, they purchased the property, and when we broke up, they wanted to decide what to do with the money that was left. And so one of the women said, let's buy this land so we can have a park. The people that started out working on the park, I think his name was Keith, and they thought that he was the one that was name was supposed to be on everything, but it wasn't, because they named that park in the memory of Miss Kinzada Keith.
And who is Kinzada?
Kinzada Keith was the principal of Hutchinson High School.
That's correct.
For a length of time. And the women they wanted it dedicated to her name. So that's how the name came about. And we have 2 or 3 members, I think it's 2 members now, three members now that are still living.
Can we name them? Let's
Yes.
see. We have
Okay, we have Miss Kate Phillips.
okay.
Miss Elliot Smith.
Miss Kate Phillips, Miss Eloy Smith, and
And
they
Miss-
both
wait a
actually
minute.
live right near the park.
Right,
Okay.
right. And we also have Miss Rosalie Sexton.
Miss Rosalie
We
Sexton.
want to mention her.
Yes.
And we worked hard. Women were working hard those days and didn't mind working. You know, it was just a blessing for us. And matter of fact, Rosalie Sexton and I were the 2 youngest members in that club, because we was learning how to follow after our mothers. My mother was a member, her mother was a member, and we were there. We were there doing what they told us to do, and we didn't mind working either. We just fell in, you know, and working. Young people back then, that's what they did. You know.
Exactly.
So, Councilman Davis, what do we see now? You know, we have ladies, women back in the day that I hear you say didn't mind getting their hands wet, cooking, and you were consistent. You said that your mother talked about it all the time.
All the
She looked
time.
forward to doing it. What is different now with the young ladies? What's missing? I mean, we still have that, but the consistency. What do you think is missing?
Well, since Miss Dobbs, Miss Faye has contacted me, people have really looked into this, and they have really opened up their eyes to really wants to grow. They're coming together now, and with the leadership of the group that's Miss Faye and Miss Sarah and the other group, with the group that we have now, they want to make this one of our premier parks. And with me being vice chair of parks, I'm going to see that it be a premier park.
So what do you think is missing with the ladies today? I mean, what can you do to instill in, you know, I'm a descendant of Miss Whitaker, and we didn't name the rest of the ladies that are deceased. We named the ones that are except for your mom.
Right.
So the other ladies that were a part of the Willing Working Women were, we had Tessie Wiggles, Annie Mae Polk. Who else was a part of that?
Miss Coburn Lee,
Miss Coburn Lee,
Miss Faye Favors,
Faye Favors. I think I saw Miss Susie
Moreland,
Mabel Baldwin.
Miss Mabel Baldwin. Okay.
and so many others. That
It was
Rose
others.
Lovelace.
Yeah, Rose Lovelace was there too.
Rose Lovelace.
Eddie Mae Lovelace was there.
Eddie Mae Lovelace. Okay. So what is different now? What Miss Beulah Morris, and those names actually are listed on a
I've
plaque
seen
Plaque.
it.
at the Willing Working Community Club. Also, but what's missing? That's an answer that we haven't been able to, a question that we haven't answered yet. What's missing from then and now with?
Okay, the world is moving so fast. People don't have time. You don't have time to communicate. If you're working, then something else is happening. And the young people, they out there working and trying to do what they can do, you know, for themselves. And it's just not like today the world has moved forward, and it's just not like the day back then. You know, you can't go into people's houses anymore like that unless they ask for it. But we don't have the women now. I wish that club from some of the younger people could be brought back.
That's right.
What I had discussed with some of the siblings of the Willie workers, to make this an annual thing once a year, that we would do something like a clothes drive or in the very park to keep it going and to keep that date going so we can pass it on to our children and our great-grandchildren, that they would know on this day is something that my grandmother did, and we got to keep it alive. I've even talked to my son about it, and I said, I'm going to hold you responsible to keep it going. And to, at some point, all of us will get together, all of us, you, everybody, the younger group, to say this is what we got to do. I think it would make those women so proud to know. We may not be able to recognize it every week or every month. Like Sarah said, things have changed. It's hard to go up to people and say, can I help you? Will you accept this? But maybe doing it this way, at the park, make it known, announce it that we do this once a year. Everything can be included, voting, giving away free clothes, anything that's going to help the community. We could do a big fair, health fair screening at that same time. I think that would be a part of what the women were about and would like to see us do, even if we couldn't do it every month, but that one time a year.
Just like when you cut hair every year, once a year, you dedicate time for the young men to cut hair. I mean, you cut their hair for school, and you give back, and that's instilled in you.
Right.
So I'm hearing you say, you hold your son accountable to do this and make sure that we get things done. But there are still ladies. I always say to my mother, God made you all, he gave you all something that he didn't give us. And I think he did give it to us. It's just, do we want to do it like that? We want it quickly and fast. But there is a way. And your father, Mr. Pete Dobbs, who Councilman Davis is going to have a moment to interview later, said the ladies in this group were dedicated.
Exactly.
And then you said, in order for them, if you're going to do it right.
Do it right.
What were the characteristics of those ladies that made things move? What were the characteristics? They were dedicated.
They were dedicated. They didn't mind doing. You could call on them at any time, and they would do. If we had someone's house to go to, like such as women, young women having babies, we took care of those people. Older women getting sick, we took care of those people, you know. And we didn't, the thing of it is, we didn't mind doing it.
Yeah, it was
You have
the
to be
willingness,
dedicated.
I think.
You have to be willing
their
and
willingness,
dedicated.
Yeah, to do it and see it through.
Wow.
Yeah.
I have a question. The women's working, who thought of this name? I mean,
That was Miss Aquila Walker. She had a vision. And you know what? We worked that vision out. Good. Very good.
And I think she chose women to be a part of this club who were just that. They were willing, they was workers, they were good business people of their own kind at that time. And I think she just picked them out, that this would be a good fit. This would be a good thing to get all of them together. And it's just amazing when you think about it. It's something very dear to me.
Wow.
It really is.
Well, this is another moment in history. The willing, working women.
Right.
And we're going to come back and have more details about the willing, working women, and we're going to talk about the new name from Keith Park to, what's the new name?
LaShun.
Willing, Working Community Park.
Yeah.
And the
Is
sign
that
is already there. What's
That's
the name
it.
of the street? The name of the
The
street,
street is
Thompson.
Thompson
Thompson
Street.
Street.
Yes, okay.
Thompson
That's the
Street.
location for our viewers. One more time, where it's located?
Thompson Street, right. Thompson Street. So I tell you, thank you so very much, ladies. This is awesome. We're going to be back with Mr. Pete Dobbs and Miss Lulu Parker and talk a little bit more about the Willing Working Women Keith Park to the Willing Working Community Park on Thompson Street.
On Thompson.
We'll be right back.
Be right back. Thank you.
So good to see you guys. So, what's up?
Oh, we finally bought a place.
Holy cow.
You seriously have enough saved to do that?
We've been putting a little aside each month.
Jeez, at the end of the month, we have nothing left to save.
Yeah, I have no idea where it goes.
Well, you're spending a lot on...
Was it good?
Oh, God.
Oh, how is my account overdrawn?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
Welcome to another moment of history here in the city of Douglasville. And today, my special guest today is Mr. Willie Dobbs. Thank you, Mr. Dobbs. And how are you today?
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Mr. Willie Dobbs is one of the first young men, I say young men, back in the days to work for L&L Buick, and he was a transmission specialist. And how many years, Mr. Dobbs?
40.
40 years. Did you ever miss a day?
No. 16 years, never missed a day.
Never missed
Never out 5 minutes.
Did you
A
ever
good
complain about going to work?
No, no. 'Cause I had to work, so I never complained.
And Mr. Dodd, with me being vice chair of Park and Rec, you've been around these parks all your, first let me go back. My dad is Jesse Davis, and you and my father was tight as the hat bands, as they say.
Absolutely.
And y'all had ball teams. Will you expound a little bit on the ball team before we get to the Willing Working Park?
Yeah. I was the very first one that started. Of course, you played for me in the little league. I used to own the honey hole down there. So they was to make a baseball field. So I let the school have it. Just give it to them for $1, of course. Sign the papers over to them, and that's what happened to that part. But the time that you was playing with me, I didn't worry about nothing that long at that time. I just wanted to teach you guys.
That's right.
Baseball. It's something I'd done all my life, you know. So, and then later, me and your dad got together with the pros.
That's right.
And we managed them for
a lifetime, to the death, probably.
Absolutely, several years. And I finally just got too old to follow them, you know, quit. But I wouldn't mind doing it again if I had to, you know.
That's right. If we had the young youth now that was willing to put the time in, we could all do it, and you can just oversee us.
Absolutely.
And but back in the days, we didn't ever have to worry about any of the guys coming to play. On Sundays, I believe they went to church first.
Had to. They didn't play for me if they did.
That was one of Mr. Dobbs and my father, Jesse Davis. That was a requirement.
Right.
You had to attend church. And then after church,
we played then after church. We played ball after church. Didn't have much of a field to play on, but we played.
That's right. Y'all worked hard down at Jesse Davis Park to get it in shape. Threw rocks, cut grass. It just everybody pitched in.
Right.
But now we're going back to the Willing Workers Park that's located right in the area of your home, and you've been in your home all my life. You carried me to ball games and carried me fishing, deep sea fishing. I don't know where we got the money from, but you took care of me and your son.
Right, you got it.
I never had to pay for anything, and my father was the same way with your son and his four sons. And but we went to many games at the Ponce de Leon ballpark.
Right.
And Mr. Dobbs carried us deep sea fishing, and me and his son would go down in the bottom of the boat, and we'd probably sleep until we get out there on the water, and he would wake us up. But the Willing Working Park And the park is beginning to come together now, Mr. Dobbs. And can you remember anything about that park back there in the days?
Yeah, I remember when it started and pretty well what those ladies were saying. I remember all that because my wife was in it, of course, you know, I had to listen to it.
You have to listen to it when they come home
Yeah,
and talk about the good and the bad.
Right, whatever went on, I had to listen. But yeah, I can remember, you know, all that stuff come along, and they were so right about it, the way, you know.
And I was wondering, I meant to ask those ladies, did they ever have any fundraiser like fish fries or barbecues, or they just work and put a few dollars back?
Only one. They had one party that I know of. They had a little barbecue thing going. Well, there was several people there, and I remember they was cooking a ham. And some of them was nicely, you know, done had to be, I guess I'm supposed to say that. But the dog that stayed across the street, which was Sam Davis,
Reverend, not Sam Davis.
No,
not
not Sam Davis. Sam Channel.
Sam,
dog.
okay,
Yeah.
dog.
That went down and pulled that ham off and carried it up across the field. Everybody left the park to catch that dog, get that ham back.
You mean the dog came down and took the ham off the grill?
They had taken it off the grill, of course, had it laying over, you know, and I think maybe they
On the
cut on
table.
it a time or two or something, passing it around, and the dog got it and took off with it.
Took off
Yeah.
up to
Everybody
the
running them dogs down trying to catch him to get that ham
Get
back.
that
Now, that's
ham.
on its rest of the time. I think those women just come out of their pockets and done whatever it was that they done, you know. I don't know if they had any kind of collection that they done or whatever, but that's about the only.
But you know, Mr. Dodd, back there then, gas was only how much a gallon?
35 and 45 cents, I believe it was
gallon.
along that, yeah.
And so you could take wages then and put a little bit aside to purchase different properties. And now today, where do you see the park today in as it's growing, and we got to put we in process of getting restrooms put in there, and where you see us going in the near future with Willing Workers Park? We got to have some younger people to step in.
Right. I just figured to say.
Go ahead.
I have had people approach me about having a baseball team. Now, here's what I tell them: if you get the players, and I'll work with them.
That's right.
Because they're not here like they were years ago. You
That's
know?
right.
Younger kids don't want to play. They don't no part of that. So I said, now if you get the players, I'll look them over. I ain't never gonna promise them too much.
Right.
But they need some activity going on.
That's right.
Baseball, football. I don't know much about football, but I
Right.
do know enough that if I had to, I could manage it. But baseball is my thing, and you know that. So if anybody could come up with the team, well, I'd be glad to work with them.
Work with them.
Yeah. And I think that would sort of entice some people to come, you know, maybe on Sundays or something.
And keep the kids
Yeah.
out of the streets during the summer.
Right,
Because you
right,
kept us
right.
busy.
Yeah.
Mr. Dodd, you kept all us busy from Douglasville to Winston, all over. You kept us busy. And we have got some young men now that's retired, like your nephews, that will really help.
Oh, yeah.
And we
yeah.
just have to come together and take a lot of pride in Keith Park, and we can really do the same as you all done for us.
Right.
Well, thank you, Mr. Dobbs, and it's always a pleasure you coming out. And like I say, you're always a community activist, and he's come by the barbershops, and we talk, and he's just like a father to all us right now because Mr. Dobbs knew us from childhood.
Yeah.
So thank you, Mr. Dobbs, again.
Right.
And we hope to see you on the next moment of history.
Oh, I appreciate it. Appreciate
You
it.
have anything to say before we close out?
No, I'm just glad to be up here and learn about what's going on myself, some, you know. So I'm proud of that.
Okay. Thank you, and and hope everyone have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. Go to discovertheforest.org.
I am Councilwoman LaShun Burr Danley, and I serve in Ward 3, Post 1, and I have with me the lovely young Mother Lula Parker. We have the pleasure of being in her home today. And today, Mother Parker is with me. She is a long-time community servant, advocate, mother to all of us. And today, Mother Parker, I just want to talk to you a little bit about Keith Park, which was recently renamed the Willing Working Community Park. Mm-hmm. And I remember, even before I was in office, the advocacy that you had for this park. Can you just tell us why was it important for you to want the need of the park to be revitalized? Why was that so important?
Because I live in the community, and we have a lot of young people in the community. And since the city was doing so much for us in the park, I wanted to get the people involved where we could help them to help us.
Right. And you gave me a notebook, and I still have it in my office. It's yours. And you have notes all the way back, I want to say to the early 70s.
To when it was when they gave it to the city, and they left it, and I got involved because I was at that time was serving on the Park and Recreation Committee at Hunter Park.
Okay, so you have minutes and notes from every single meeting that kind of spelled out what was going to happen to the park, like adding lights and what else? Water, picnic tables.
Picnic tables and basketball.
And we're talking back to the 70s. I think that's when I was probably in middle school. I was children, but Mother Parker has always advocated. And if you notice, she said after the Willing Working Women donated the park, you were on the park committee.
And recreation.
And recreation. So you made sure, and you were at every single meeting. And how old are you, Mother Parker?
I'll be 92 February 22nd.
February the 22nd, you will be 92 years young. Oh, look at that, I'm so excited. 92 years young. And I tell you, Mother Parker still manages to attend meetings, still manages to do things such as this, and she still manages to encourage and pray for all of us. One other thing, Mother Parker, every year your church has hosted, or you host something where you have a, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, convention, Sunday school convention, and at that convention we have kids from, young people from Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee, and Arkansas.
Oh wow, Arkansas.
And the first time that we were, at that time I had formed a committee, and Stacy Tracy was meeting with us.
She was the director of Parks and Rec.
She was director at that time, her and Keith.
Right.
And I had told her that I would like to get it where the kids would have somewhere to go on break.
Right.
And so they cut the grass, and they put the basketball goals up, and they had where they could play basketball and had some grill. But we didn't have any water.
Right.
But they played ball and played there. And they continue. We have the kids from the church still go to the ball.
Yeah, because your church is actually, let's see, the park is on Thompson Street.
Yeah.
And your church is on Carden Street, which
But
is the
the
next
front,
street
the
over.
back is on Thompson.
Oh, okay, the back of the church is on Thompson. So it's easy for the children to just go right there. So
Don't
within
have to get on the highway.
Don't have to get on the highway, right in walking distance. So when we had the dedication of the renaming of Keith Park to willing workers in November, unfortunately Mother Parker wasn't able to attend that. However, the city, the mayor and council, we were there. And have you had a chance to go over yet?
No.
Well, I tell you, I'm gonna let the hat out the bag a little bit. There's a garden over there, and it has a flag. And then there is, over to the left side, a monument that has all the willing workers' names on it. And at the very end of it, it has your name saying, "Thank you, Mother Parker, for your continuing advocacy." Now, that may not be exactly what it says, but we do appreciate your advocacy, because now there are lights over there, and I just spoke with our new park director, Mr. Bennett Oliver, who said that he is looking at a restroom facility that will be there, and we've talked about parking. So there are different phases that we're going to do, and all because of your advocacy. We never stopped.
Well, I'm not going to stop. I talked to Mr. Bridges and told him that he needs to get the group together and form a committee and do something to help.
And she's right. She's not going to stop. So earlier today, we spoke with one of the original members, and you know, my mother, Sarah Kemp Whitaker. And we had Faye Dobbs and her father. His wife, Miss Nell Dobbs, was an original member. So we talked a little bit with them, and Councilman Davis had a chance to interview him. But I'm so delighted that this piece is to remember you for all of your advocacy. And we wouldn't be where we are today without you. We love you so much. Oh, you're a sweetheart. Thank you so much for tuning in to our Continuing Moments 2015 Black History Month. And I'm honored to be in the presence and in the home of none other than Mother Lula Parker. Thanks.
It's a beautiful day out here. Sunny today with light breezes, giving way to clouds in the afternoon. We could see some light precipitation to moderate precipitation later on, followed by powerful storm-like conditions. 90 miles per hour winds are expected. Authorities are asking everyone, stay indoors. Come on, that's it. Let's go.
LaShun, this is another year.
Right. Another year, not an ending
Thank you.
of Black History Moments in the City of Douglasville 2015, but it's the beginning of another chapter. Thank you so much for watching. We look forward to 2016. All right, Councilman Davis.
You have a great day.